Well, the spodding I do at the moment is anywhere up to about 80 yards on the pit that I'm fishing, but the majority of the work I do with it is really only to be up to 40, 50 yards, and that's the sort of distance I like to fish, and I get good accurate spodding at that distance. It is quite a beefy rod, this one, as you can tell by the thickness of it, but all in all, can't fault the quality, but it certainly does the job.
I tend to spod mostly up to about 100 and 110 yards. I spod with boilies most of the time. I like to have a rod that's going to give me accuracy at that range and a nice balance with the reel. Sometimes I'm spodding up to maybe an hour or so, so it needs to be sort of comfortable in my arm and my hand. The bill quality's pretty good. It's got 6 rings, matched with Daiwa braid in the reel. You could give it some, I think, it'd go a long way.
Done quite a bit over, well, to be honest, over the years, done a hell of a lot. Try and be as accurate as possible, sort of distances, sort of 100 to 150 yards, so I do try and push it a little bit further. Right, I'm going to give it a good chuck and see what it's got. It's got a bit of power to that. It feels quite nice, to be honest. Right, yeah, on the first cast, sort of tip sort of felt just a little bit sort of wobbly almost. I think you need to really wind it up a little bit more just to sort of get the best in the rod.
This spod rod we got here is a Daiwa Infinity, and to be quite honest, it's a real powerful tool for me. It's not a type of rod that I would envisage using in my spodding, because as I say, I only spod up to about 80 yards maximum, and I'm quite prepared to do that with a softer action rod, and I think I'll get more feel and more accuracy in the casting. But this, being a down and out casting rod, I think this would probably suit your requirements as opposed to mine.
Yeah, just for a bit of a shorter cast, it doesn't seem to be the one for me. Just almost a little bit wobbly, doesn't really, to me, feel as accurate as it could be. But once you sort of wind it up a little bit, you're getting sort of the most out of it, I think.
Yeah. Now, we all agreed that this was a nice, good reel fitting for that type of reel that we were using.
Yeah.
And it gripped
really
the reel
tight.
seat really tight as well, which is a definite plus in your range of fishing. I feel I get better accuracy with a softer rod as I compress it behind me to prior to releasing. And
Feel more in control of what you're doing.
yeah, and I do feel more confident with a softer rod.
I mean, for me, it's probably a bit. I'd like something all-round, an all-round spod rod. It's probably just a bit too powerful for me. I'm a bit like yourself. I like something that's you can actually feel what you're doing behind you.
Yeah, it'd do 100 yards all day long, wouldn't it?
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not really too keen cosmetically on the shiny finish on it, are we?
No.
But again, that's a preferential choice whether people prefer unvarnished rods, matte varnish, or glossy finish. And again, that's just down to the individual purchaser of a rod and what they like their best. We feel that we could have had a bigger section of Duplin on the back
It's a bit
to give you that extra bit more grip, especially like this. You might lose a might lose a finger on there, and you really need something on the butt to grab it if you do have a hand slip off the reel.
Definitely. Yeah, on this bottom section of the rod, I prefer possibly a different material maybe, which is a bit more possibly anti-slip if it gets wet, and you could easily wipe it clean when it gets dirty and manky. I'd also like maybe some ridges in it, so you've got a bit more grip when you're really whacking it. And possibly a slightly longer handle, which gives you a bit more power if you need it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what you think, Ryan.
Yeah, I think if you had a bit of a longer handle, you really could sort of just on the swing
wind it right up.
Yeah.
And just some nodules there.
I mean, after all, these are not rods designed and made to be sitting in rest and looking pretty like carp rods do. Yeah. This is just a rod you'll use to put your bait out with. Yeah. Then it's just spent the rest of the session leaning up against a tree.
Well, it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So cosmetically, it doesn't have to be an excellent finishing rod, does it?
I'd probably like about another foot, just so where it sort of makes your life just a little bit easier having that extra bit on the end, and as well, I think that just that length on the end's going to help the rod sort of maybe just sort of compress just slightly more easily. Like it's like Pete was saying earlier, like it's really powerful, and you really got to work at it to get it to bend. And I think that extra bit will just sort of maybe spread the load out through the tip, just to give you that little extra bit. And also like the rings as well. I think for me I'd want a bigger butt ring, just sort of help the line come through a little bit more smoothly.
So you would think a 50mm butt ring?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree on that one.
Yeah.
Also something I like about it is how nice and tight that this the spigot of the rod's clamping together. Or where they push on, like some rods you get a little bit wobbly and occasionally fly off on the cast, and
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah. And again, the same things with these rods is that the reel fitting may be questionable, do need something that definitely locks up reels really, really tight.
Now we've tested them, guys, would either of you two go and purchase them, bearing in mind they are
No,
over
not for
300,
me, because
300 quid?
they don't. That's not my style of spod fishing. Yeah, I'm not an extreme range person. It's all right fishing them out that far, but I just it's the winding in of it all and stuff like that, you know.
What about yourself,
But
Ryan?
Nah, for me, I wouldn't buy one. I'm like the rod that I've got, I can't really fault, to be honest. I'm not saying faulting these in any way, but it's a lot of money to spend on a rod, and I think you could get a rod that does the same job for half the price.
fraction of
Yeah,
the price,
totally agree
yeah,
with you.
yeah,
I mean, for my
yeah,
fishing, I wouldn't.
yeah.
I wouldn't. They're not enough of an all-round rod for me.
No, they're just a purpose-built
Yeah.
extreme
Yeah.
range
If you're
spod rod,
fishing
aren't
big
they?
pitch and you need to hit big distances, then they're probably ideal for
Yeah.
you.